and welcome to this week's edition of It's Your City. I'm Cortney Bloomer here in our studios at the Brewery Arts Center with this week's guest, Supervisor Karen Abowd. Karen, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Courtney. Glad to be here.
We've got a couple of really exciting things to talk about during today's show. There was an historic meeting of the Board of Health last night.
Yes.
That was a joint meeting between the hospital and also the Board of Health.
Yes.
And some other important community players, the fire department and
Right.
the sheriff's office, and some other folks were at that meeting.
Right.
One of the things that was discussed was the new sexual assault response team.
Yes.
Now, about a year ago, Sheriff Furlong had some very strong words for the hospital about the lack of sexual assault response services here in our community, and victims of sexual assault were being sent to Reno to receive services. Tell us what's been done to address that in the past year, and a little bit about what happened last night.
All right, I'll do that. And so backing up to a year ago, I volunteered for the SART committee and quickly got up to speed with what wasn't available and also with what wasn't being done. And after a few meetings, became a little uncomfortable with the fact that it seemed like personalities were getting in the way of progress. And I'm more of a can-do person. Most don't know, my sister lost her life to domestic violence. So it's a very short drive for me, and I have little patience with not accommodating the need. So it was about what can we do and how can we do it. So we engaged, the DA's office was always involved, but I also had a conversation with Jason Woodbury, and I said, we need to make this happen. And so a group of us, Dr. Pintar, Jason, and his staff, went, and of course Lisa Lee and Tracy Angel from
Advocates to End Domestic Violence.
Correct. All went up to see the facility that's up in Reno, where the exams were being performed. And also met with all their folks to find out how they do what they do. And of course it comes down to funding, and it's about breaking it down to, all right, who can do what can we make happen?
And we should let the viewers know that these exams we're talking about is not just your regular gynecological exam. These are not very specific and are done by trained nurses.
Yes.
Who are trained to not just collect the evidence that's maybe needed in a case, but also to work with these individuals who are traumatized.
That's correct. You know, they're more of a forensic exam, for lack of a better term, and it's the advocates work with the nurses, with the detectives to, they work as a unit, a group, for the best care for the individual. And so yes, it's a very orchestrated type of test, and there's also aftercare that requires having the test and follow through, so that these persons who are traumatized can have their mental well-being restored as well. And so after going through the logistics of this, Dr. Pinter pointed out that we needed a medical administrator for that position, and of course that comes down to funding as well. I've talked to the city manager. We're working through the logistics on that, but we had Dr. Shannon Hess agree to be that medical director, which was huge.
And she's an OBGYN here in town.
Yes, that's correct. And so she will oversee the SART nurses. And the SART nurses, the training in and of itself is extensive, and it's one of the hardest tests that they have to go through in their nursing training, those that choose to do this. So the nurses are on board with this as a result, and Carson Tahoe Hospital stepped up hugely, because the other issue was, where can we do this? If anyone's been at the ER, especially late at night, it can be, just the nature of the beast can be a crazy place. And for someone that's been traumatized with a sexual assault, it just kind of complicates the whole issue.
That can be a really uncomfortable environment.
Very. And so Kitty McKay from the Carson Tahoe, who heads up the Carson Tahoe Foundation, said, we have a place for you at the Specialty Medical Center, which is the old Carson Tahoe location. So we took a tour, including the detectives and anyone that would be involved in a sexual assault response, and determined that it was absolutely perfect. There is a quiet, comfortable place if someone has to come with their children, and with a TV and fireplace and all of that for families to be. There's a private room, there's showers, and there's also a conference room if that's necessary. So, and because it's a little bit quieter a facility, it's more private as well. So that was determined to be perfect. And then another obstacle was the colposcope, and Carson Tahoe is paying for the colposcope. So right now, in Health and Human Services, in a collective meeting that we had with the DA's office, the Sheriff's office, Advocates to End Domestic Violence, myself, Dr. Pintar, it was agreed that Health and Human Services would be the billing agency and would also do the actual hiring of the medical director.
Right, so the nurses and the medical director will work under contracts with the health department here in Carson City.
That's correct. And then the city would work through it with their budgeting. What folks need to know is that by statute, the city is obligated to pay for these exams. And so it's very important, I feel, that we are the capital city and that we provide for this, because our hospital is indeed a regional hospital. And we know from the statistics that were presented that there are far more assaults than there are exams. And part of that is when someone previously was assaulted, they had to drive themselves to Reno. And having visited the facility, especially if you're going there at night, it's hard to find. And so, just the logistics of having to deal with all of that is difficult.
If they even choose to pursue an exam,
That's correct.
A lot of times victims feel afraid.
Yes, they do.
To go pursue that that their attacker will, want to punish them further for reporting.
Right.
Exactly. So a lot of these assaults, they may not seek an exam.
That's exactly right. And we want to make it that it is more comfortable. I have an article that I wrote for the Appeal kind of outlining the ABCs, as it were, for what goes on with an exam and the time frame. I mean, ideally, yes, you would like to have the person examined right away, but do they have to be examined immediately for accuracy? No. And so, knowing that, they can do it in a comfortable time frame, not necessarily in an immediate time frame.
But not waiting too long.
Not waiting too long. No, it's not recommended that over 6 or 7 days that you wait. So that being said, this allows for a more comfortable environment.
And something here locally.
Yes.
Not having to use the resources to travel to Reno.
That's right.
People can seek care here in their own community, where their families are, where they can get there easily and not have to worry about things like transportation.
Exactly. And just one case in point, which our city manager was wonderful and stepped up and got a city van to accommodate, but someone was victimized and had 4 children, all of whom were in car seats. And so a cab can't take them.
No.
And the victim obviously was unable to drive herself, and so it was a problem. And so it's things like that really create a problem that we'd like to eliminate.
Now, Karen, just let people know what is this process, and if you are a victim, what are your steps? What should you do?
There's a couple of ways that you can go. First of all, you can call Advocates to End Domestic Violence. They have a hotline. And you can call and they will direct you exactly as to what to do. Otherwise, you can go to the hospital, the ER. Now our new program will be, should be in place by early fall. But you go to the ER, and then from there, a phone call is made to Advocates to End Domestic Violence, and the correct persons arrive to take care of the situation. At present, then you would be instructed to drive to Reno. But in the future, you would be driven to the other facility.
Here in the next couple of months, we'll be getting this service here.
That's right. And then, it's about a holistic approach to the care of the person. So the team comes together and the examination is performed. The DA's office, picks up the test results and have those run. And in the meantime, you have a representative from one of the volunteers from Advocates to End Domestic Violence that nurture you through the process of what needs to be done, what services you might need, that sort of thing, all the way to the fact even if you have to go to court.
Helping navigate
correct.
Those services.
That's correct, yes. And so, they really help to take some of the pain out of the whole experience.
Well, I think it's so fantastic that over the course of the past year, we were able to recognize, and really a lot of different city agencies, a lot of different nonprofits came together to address this need, and we're now getting really close to having this here as soon as we get some of the nurses trained and get the facility ready and the equipment arrives. We're going to be doing this.
That's right.
Here.
It was a collaboration of can-do people. It was absolutely wonderful. Each meeting after meeting that we went into, we came out with more solutions than problems. And that's what you like to see. Everyone understands the need and responded to that need. And that's my feeling, that a healthy community is about a community that recognizes a problem and solves it. So
fantastic. Thanks for all your work on this.
Sure.
And thank you to the whole team for really
awesome
helping a vulnerable group of people, those who have been affected by domestic and sexual violence in our community. Now, moving on from that is such a huge victory, but on a little bit more, fun note, we've got our second fair coming up here in just over a week.
Yes, and it's exciting, and in fact, I have a list of things that I want to talk to you about with regards to
things that are happening.
What's being offered. Yes.
What is happening.
Yes.
We've got all kinds of things happening at the fair, and we're making it really easy for people to get there because the fair is going to be free again this year.
Yes.
And we're still going to offer the shuttle service as well, right?
Yes, we are. And Susan Taylor is still, again, contracted as a fair manager. So, she's got a track record now of dealing with this. And Parks and Rec, of course, is the oversight on all of this. And the fair will be 4 days. It starts from Thursday, July 30th through Sunday, August 2nd. And some of the featured events in the arena will include the Civil War Reenactors Competition, and that'll be Thursday afternoon. And then on the 30th, you're going to have Bulls and Broncs Rodeo, and that's on the Friday night. And then the 31st, and then a truck pull on Saturday night, August 1st.
Action-packed.
Yes. And discounted tickets can be pre-purchased by going online to nv150fair.com.
And now that's tickets to these special events.
Yes.
The special events, you do have to have a ticket, and like you just mentioned, nv50fair.com to get those.
Yes.
But the fair itself is free.
Yes.
If you just want to come in and check out the livestock exhibits,
you can.
or some of the arts and crafts, or the midway, anyone can come do that.
That's right. And then this year they're offering prepaid parking passes, and those can be purchased at City Hall in the Treasurer's office for $20, and that pass is good throughout the fair. So, and that's for parking on premise.
at the fairgrounds.
That's
Parking
correct.
at the Fandango, if you're going to use the shuttle, also free.
Yes, correct. And as you mentioned, they'll have the Jack chartered buses going from the Casino Fandango to the fairgrounds and back. And the buses will run beginning a half hour before the fair opens until a half hour after the fair closes. So
don't have to worry about missing anything at the fair.
That's right. And this year, they're going to have a beer garden in Fuji Park with seating and tables, and they'll be serving beer and wine and frozen margaritas.
Oh. Well, that'll be fun for some of our adult fairgoers.
That's right.
To take part in that.
And then they're going to have a lot of music and entertainment, and that'll be located near the beer garden. And this year they're going to feature a live pig racing by Cook's Racing Pigs.
Racing pigs. I've
Who
never
knew?
seen racing pigs. When is this taking place?
I don't have a date, but this
Check
is
out
happening.
the fair website. Find
Yes.
out when the pig races are happening.
Yes, exactly. And then they'll have the horse and livestock judging competitions, and that'll be going on throughout the fair, along with the usual, the pies, the jellies, the jams, the quilts, the artwork, all that sort of thing. So, and then marketing and promotions for this year's event have been strong, and they've had radio and newspaper ads and social media outreach and carnival wristband giveaways and a coloring contest going on right now, which you may have seen. That's been, I think, in the paper in the Nevada Appeal. So, and then there'll be a banner promoting the fair, and that'll go up over downtown Carson Street. And then the carnival is a new carnival promoter this year. That's Paul Maurer Shows Carnival. And so a little bit different offerings than what we had last year.
All right. Lots to see and do.
Lots to see and do.
And a great celebration of Nevada and our state's heritage.
And for the viewers, there's 3 pages of events.
Of schedule.
So
what we just talked about is not everything that
No,
there is.
there is
an extensive list of different activities, and this tells you when everything is happening. So if what you're interested in is the livestock shows, this tells you exactly when each one of those shows is going to take place.
That's right.
You don't have to miss anything.
That's right.
And that website again?
NV150fair.com.
NV150fair.com.
Right.
Check it out. The schedule is there. We hope to see everybody at the fair on July 30th? 30th through August 2nd.
Yes, that's right. All right.
All right. Karen, thanks so much for being here with us today and telling us about some of the things that are happening in our city. It is your city, so thanks for following along with our show. And thanks again, Karen, for joining us. We'll see you next week.